Hello and welcome to Guild Guide, a show where we explore what's new on Dungeon Masters Guild. I'll be your host, William Bosley. Or, well, that's the intro I'm going to give on my Twitch stream, but the problem was that my Twitch stream got messed up. The first episode was supposed to automatically record and, stream at the same time, but the recording got messed up. It's only about 16 minutes long, and I kind of lost it. I didn't have any followers yet either, so there was no one there to see the live, broadcast. I think there was something else going on at the time in the Dungeon Masters, or in the Dungeons and Dragons Twitch universe, so I didn't get any viewers at all. So anyway, the point is that I'm gonna have to upload this shorter video as a just like an episode 0, and so you can go ahead and watch it. I only ended up covering 5 of the 30 or something like that supplements that I covered in the full-blown video. It was 111 or something like that, or 115 minutes or something to that effect. And I just didn't save off any of it. So instead, you get a much shorter video, and it's also choppy and messed up, and the frame rate is all over the place, and it just basically shows static images while I talk in the background, which is kind of another problem. Anyway, yeah, without further ado, you're going to hear my intro once again as we watch this little shorter clip. Thanks.
Hello, and welcome to Guild Guide, a show where we explore what's new on Dungeon Masters Guild. I'll be your host, William Bosley. So to start off, we'll start off strong with actually a subclass. We've got Way of the Brick Brawler. It's a monk subclass with it's built around the idea, it looks like, of basically improvised weapons. You get all sorts of bonuses to proficiency with improvised weapons, and you get resourceful warrior, which is you get a 11th level. You get a range increase with them. You get let's see, cheap tricks. You get dust in the eye and slap. They're pretty cool looking. They seem like just general cheap tricks that actually look like they work pretty well, like blinding people and things like that. You also get some street tactics and stuff like that. So it looks pretty cool. I would probably allow this one in my game at home if someone wanted to play it. In general, I would say I've got sort of the way I'm going to classify the quality of these is if it's is basically, look, I got this little basically quality levels are poor, average, good, excellent, and the question of whether or not I would allow it at my table or would actually use it myself. So in this case, I would say this is definitely good to excellent, somewhere in that range, because this seems like you do not, let's see, just to look at those, that means either there are going to be few rulings that the DM needs to make, or almost, or which are, whenever they do come up, are almost going to be a given. It's going to be a minor wording error, maybe, that makes you have to go, well, okay, well, it's this, obviously, is what the intent was. And then excellent is systems are clear without the need of many rulings at all. So basically, I'm thinking that this is, looking at it, I couldn't find very many problems if there were any at all. And I do believe this one is actually almost good enough to be like I could see this showing up in an official supplement, is my opinion, which is great, because that's a great one to start off with. This was the first one released on Saturday. And that's what we're doing today, by the way. I originally was going to go live on Saturday for the first episode, and I got a little bit, delayed. Well, or sorry, on Sunday. I was going to go on Sunday and talk about Saturday. But whenever I, went to try and get it set up, I didn't understand how Twitch worked properly and stuff like that. I had to do a lot of work to turn my YouTube recording area into a Twitch live streaming area. So that's what we got now. We're looking at basically Saturday, and I'm going to try and catch up in the next couple of days, maybe, and I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do this pretty frequently and keep up. So this one is on here. It's made by Michael Williams, The Way of the Brick Brawler, the monk subclass. It's a PDF, and it's a suggested price $1, but it's pay what you want. Honestly, with this one, it's only one page. Generally, the wisdom is that obviously you should charge something because you're using your time to make this stuff. Sometimes it's being used in your own game and you're just sharing it, and you don't really care about making money, but there are people on here trying to make a living. So if you want to support them, then you should probably charge something. But in this case, being just a small subclass, it's not something super major like a whole class or something like that. I mean, it's not going to make a huge impact on those that are trying to make a living here. The fact that it's pay what you want is great. The suggested price is $1. The general wisdom is about 20 cents per page. This is only one page, but also general wisdom is if you feel like it's a good enough quality, you should round up to at least $1 minimum. 50 cents is what the website suggests, but the number of sales that you're going to get on it is pretty low. In this case, though, unless you're like one of the really popular ones, obviously that's the thing. But anyway, the great thing here, though, is that because pay what you want, you can get it for free, and then after you look at it and you get a good view for it, I mean, this one in particular, you can look at the whole thing with the preview. It'll load up really good, and you'll be able to view the whole thing here. And that's what I was just doing. But basically, you can get it free, and then you can replay it. You can look at it, try it out, and if you like it, if you feel like, oh man, this character is actually really fun to play, you can come back on here and pay what you want. And if you do really like it, they suggest $1, but honestly, this thing's going to get downloaded probably 100 times for free for every one time that someone donates money for the suggested price. So if you want to throw some money their way and make them feel better about that, then I would suggest donating like more than they potentially suggest, if you can, obviously. I mean, if you got the money, this thing is probably worth like $2 or $3, honestly, for quality. But the fact that it's only one page, you think that it may not be technically maybe not something you'd accumulate to that, but it's probably worth that. It's a really nice supplement, to be honest. Really good subclass. Let's close that other tab. So the next one is the very second one released on Saturday is a vehicle supplement called Various Vehicles, Carriages, by William Bosley. Oh, that's me. Look at that. So anyway, this one is I try to get a good description in here. There's 7 unique vehicles. In this, I created some rules. I'm going to go over just a little bit like I did with the other one. I created some rules to try and fill out what was missing for carts, like draft-driven vehicles, draft animal driven vehicles. But I did base this off of the infernal war machines in Descent into Avernus. So mechanically, they don't function like boats. They actually function like that. So you might be a little bit surprised if you're used to Saltmarsh, for example, for vehicles. But in this case, I tried to include all the rules that were potentially necessary. And I do believe you should be able to use this without any additional stuff. Just to give you an idea, there's mishaps where if they take enough damage, a mishap occurs. And you have to do repairs to get rid of mishaps, and mishaps can be things like, the vehicle flips over or the axle gets damaged and it starts shaking. And then down here, you get here's a list of all the carriages that are in here. I'm going to release some more that are, that's kind of a preview. That's not fair to do, but I do put in the description of the thing. But I'm going to release some for each of the different vehicle types. But I got, a couple of stat blocks here to give you an example of how they work. And if you want to go take a look at that, you can. But I've already spent too much time on my own supplement here, so I'm just going to say I charge $3 because it's 15 pages, and 20 cents per page for 15 pages came out to $3. So that's what I charged. That's that. And let's see. So the next one here, coming along, is the Sacerdoti Neri. This one is in another, that's my attempt at pronouncing that. This is in another language that I don't speak, unfortunately. So I would love to cover this one in particular, but I can't. So all I'm going to say is that it's 38 pages. And $2.28. I assume that's because they placed the price in another currency, and that it adjusted to, the American dollar for me. But this is from, I believe that would be pronounced Andrea Varney. But just in case, I hope that's not incorrect. But anyway, it seems very cool. I wish I could read this. The cover is very nice. and with that many pages at that price, if you do speak the language, that seems nice. But again, I don't know how many people are going to be watching my show if they do speak this language, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I would, if I were you, potentially look for if this is ever in English, simply because of the merit of the art, the number of pages to the price. I mean, you're probably going to get a good quality product here, but we just don't know, as is, or at least I don't. Then we got the next one coming along, and sorry for my really slow computer. Streaming from this laptop is very while also loading websites. This one's called Air Force One. I actually have this PDF open, so maybe I could just pull that up, because pay what you want. I'll come back to the website in a minute once it's loaded, but for now I'm going to pull up the PDF if it'll load. Boy, that's slow. Alright, Air Force One. So Air Force One is an adventure module. It's very cool, honestly. There's not a lot of stuff that has to do, from what I've seen at least, I haven't seen a lot of stuff that has to do with the elemental plane of air, or this I think has some earth elemental stuff as well. And it seems like it'd be a lot of fun. I personally, I homebrew my entire campaign. So I don't get a whole lot of I don't have a whole lot of experience with running other people's adventures, but it's I don't want to spoil anything either for any players who are watching this, so I'm not going to go super into it. But what I will say is that let's see, it's for level 4 for 4 level 13 characters, and primarily placed in the elemental plane of air, like I was saying, and there's a good bit of exploration and stuff like that. But it seems very, very cool, to be honest. Its encounters are very straightforward. They don't seem to overly fill themselves with stuff that's not necessary. There's a lot of like gargoyles involved. But again, I don't want to spoil too much for if there is a player watching, that because a DM may be watching that wants to run this for a player who's also watching. I have no idea. I don't know how popular this show is going to get. So for now, I'm just going to say that basically, yeah, 6-hour mini adventure. So there's like a one shot that culminates. You see a picture here. It involves a phoenix. I'm not going to tell you if it's an enemy or an ally or anything like that, but I do know that one topic that I think needs to be mentioned here is that this adventure does not include any stat blocks in it. So it pretty much, I believe, it just uses official stat blocks from the various official books. I don't think the Phoenix is in the monster manual. I could be wrong, but I want to say it's in something else. One of the newer ones, and it's. But yeah, okay. So that one's from Fever Dream Studios, by the way. I didn't get to say that at the beginning because the page wouldn't load. It's got 9 pages. It's pay what you want, like I said. Suggested price $2. At 9 pages, that's perfectly reasonable. Basically, that's rounding up to the nearest dollar from $1.80 if you go off the 20-cent thing, which again is probably normal. It's very normal to round up by 50 cents, even up to $1, but probably more like 50 cents. Once you get to 50 cents or more, you round up. If it's below that, you may round down, or you may just leave it as, depending on if you're trying to make a living and if you're seeing good enough success or whatnot. But yeah, this one looks really cool. I don't know who's in Fever Dream Studios, or else I would talk about them. I would mention their names and stuff, but oh yeah, they're probably in the credits of the actual supplement. Let's go see if there's a credit page here. Pull that back up. That doesn't appear to be any credits at the beginning. Let's go to the end then. Let's see what's going on there. I believe this is part of the adventure, and I don't want to spoil anything. It's pay what you want, so it's easy to spoil if your players really wanted to. But yeah, so I don't see any credits in here. I think that would be nice to do, even for a studio, unless I'm wrong. Credit to, let's see, for this template. Okay, u/a little gnome. But yeah, so yeah, I don't see a section for credits, but that's okay. they must be trying to get their studio name must be the thing they're trying to make popular, and not themselves. Anyway, moving on, Fever Dream Studios. Now the next one is an Oath. Let me see, what was this one? Oath of the Drifter. Right. Yes, this one was really cool looking. So this one is it's pay what you want again. So I did download it and take a look at it. Oath of the Drifter. Right off the bat, you see these two guns crossed here. It's a Paladin archetype. Tells you right there. So you get a good idea immediately of what this thing is going to be. It's called Oath of the Drifter, which, I feel like the Oath of the Drifter could have been a more general term for maybe like just someone who explores in general. And they could have made it to where, having firearms would be, you'd have a bonus for that. But they wanted to make it a gun, they want to make basically, this is a gunslinging paladin. And it really is cool, by Ryu. Oh yeah. Let me go back to that really quick and talk about it. It's by Ryu Kurayami, and $1.99, 4 pages, and pay what you want. So because it's they're suggesting $1.99, which means they're saying this is what I think the value is. I'm ignoring any kind of calculations. Maybe they did do a 50 cents per page calculation or something like that, but and maybe they weren't aware of the 20 cents or anything like that. But anyway, the point is that that's just the modern standard. It's not a big deal. But the point is that because they're giving it to you for free if you want it, then suggesting $2 is just talking about the quality of it. And honestly, I think I agree. This is a really nice one. I mean, if this was on DnDBeyond, I forget what the pricing on subclasses is on DnDBeyond, but I want to say it's something like $2 or something like that. So if you went off of DnDBeyond's pricing, which is also another way to do it, it's a very, very reliable way to do it. Then yeah, you could easily go off that. So Oath of the Drifter has Tenets of the Drifter. These are just talking about why you take the Oath of a Drifter. You gain proficiency in firearms and tinker's tools right off the bat. You're basically a gunslinger. I think this one was directly inspired by, based on the fact that it's doing that, potentially directly inspired by Matt Mercer's gunslinger class. But I guess they didn't want to tie it in and say you had to get that one, and maybe they didn't feel they would, that using their weapons off of there would be acceptable. So they made their own weapons at the end. I'll show you. They didn't actually use... I was surprised they have revolver and... what was it? I forget what the other one is. We'll get to the end and I'll tell you about it. But basically 2 of the guns on there are actually in the Dungeon Master.
Unfortunately, that's where it cut off. So anyway, that's basically the formula. I'm going to talk about the supplements that, that come out and talk about their benefits, their merits, things like that. And if there's anything that I feel like could be improved, I might give some advice to dungeon masters or creators who uploaded them. But most of the time, they're really good actually. And I think that it's really just the word needs to get out about them. That's all they really need, is a little bit of extra advertising. I know. Anyway, but to finish that last one off, because I feel like it ending there is a little bit unfair. I also said that that it works really well as in tandem with the Gunslinger by Matt Mercer, because you can sort of make a party of more than one firearm wielder, and they don't feel like they're stepping on each other's toes anymore. It can be a little similar, but that's okay. That's cool because they have their own powers. You could do like maybe a Three Musketeers thing or something. I don't know. Put some gunslinger or something like that. But also that since I put left a sort of a loose thread there, those two guns that it mentions are that I mentioned are the musket and the revolver. That they do exist in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but they created their own stats for it, and I think it was because they wanted to be able to they've got them in batches of 3 different kinds of weapon and firearm, and each section has 3 firearm like sort of levels. And that way you can use your tinkering skill to sort of upgrade them over time, and it kind of, I can see what they were doing there, and they're really cool too. So I think they changed the stats on them because of that. They didn't want to use the Dungeon Master's Guild or Dungeon Master's Guide versions. Anyway, yeah. So if you want to keep tabs on what's going to come out on DM's Guild in the future, go follow me on Twitch or follow me here on YouTube, and you'll get the latest episodes, and I'll talk about the newest stuff. Hopefully I can do it fairly regularly. Anyway. Thanks. Hello and welcome to Guild Guide, a show where we explore what's new on Dungeon Master's Guild. See, this is what happens every single time. It's actually easier with the Twitch, it seems like. With the Twitch. Sound like an old person. Did you say I am? I guess I am a whole year older than you. A whole decade older than you. I'm a whole decade older than you. You're in your 20s. I'm in my 30s. Hello and welcome to Guild Guide. Oh, sorry.